Welcome, everybody. We thank you very much for patience while we had some discussions here that are important as well. We're only 7 minutes late, so we'll get started on a very important hearing, and particularly for our administration hearing as well as our second panel. I know you go to a lot of work to prepare for this, and we thank you for that. So for a second time, I want to welcome everybody to our hearing on the need to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. I supported the enactment of the original Violence Against Women Act and have voted to reauthorize the grant programs authorized under the law on more than one occasion. As chairman of this committee, I've also made it a top priority to advance other measures to advance victims' rights. As an example, 2016, I worked closely with one of our witnesses, Amanda Wynn, on a landmark measure to help rape survivors. Last year, I sponsored and our committee approved a measure to renew the and also to update the Traffic Victims Protection Act. In 2017, our committee cleared a measure to make more resources available to victims of child pornography, as well as legislation to protect young athletes from sexual abuse. And in regard to that one, the lady beside me, Senator Feinstein, deserves the paramount credit for initiating that legislation. Renewing and extending the Violence Against Women Act is our next priority. That's why we've convened today's hearing. We'll hear from some outstanding experts on this subject, including the head of the Justice Department's Office on Violence Against Women, as well as an experienced prosecutor and several accomplished advocates. Before we begin, I want to take this opportunity to recognize the Elder Justice Coalition on its 15th anniversary. The coalition and staff and the national coordinator, Bob Blancato is the way it's pronounced because I've known him for 30 years, maybe 40 years. They're in the audience. They've been an important national voice on elder abuse prevention. Elder abuse can take many forms, and research suggests that it disproportionately affects women. I appreciated the coalition's strong support of my Elder Abuse Prevention and Prosecution Act. Knowing of the coalition's long support of the Violence Against Women Act, I also look forward to hearing its input, as well as the input of many other advocates here with us today. I will close by mentioning that we're currently writing legislation to update and extend Violence Against Women Act, which was last reauthorized 2013. Among other provisions, this measure will extend the Justice Department's DNA backlog reduction program while ensuring that rape victims are the top priority under this program. I'm troubled by a reported explosion in unanalyzed sexual assault evidence, which has occurred at the same time that Congress has devoted more than $1 billion to DNA backlog reduction. The measures that we're writing also will extend funding for key programs such as the STOP grants and transitional housing, which are centerpiece to Violence Against Women Act. I would like to thank our ranking member Feinstein once again, and this time for sharing my commitment to moving a bipartisan reauthorization bill. And I also like to thank all the witnesses, as I've already said, but you can't say too much about that. Another thing that I'd like to comment on, but I don't have any information on it, there's reports of a school shooting in Maryland that I don't have much on, and wait for those reports, and hopefully it's not catastrophic.